Billy Luna.
Part 3. John Sonny Franzese, Cosa Nostra legend, committed his first murder and became a made member of the Mafia at the age of 14. Friend and confidant of Cosa Nostra superstars Albert Anastasia and Vito Genovese. Rose to the rank of Colombo family underboss. Tough as nails. Killer of more than 55 men. Loving father. Ladies' man. Underworld celebrity. Mafia rock star. Idol of John Gotti. Betrayed by his own sons and sent to prison at the age of 93. He was there at the dawn of Cosa Nostra and lived to see its fall. Today's guest is S.J. Peddie, Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist and author of the book Sonny, Last of the Old-Time Mafia Bosses, John Sonny Franzese. Part 3.
Here we have one Albert Anastasia, former boss of the Anastasia crime family. However, he had an underboss that you might know the name more. Many people might know the name more, Carlo Gambino. What can you tell me about Don Umberto Albert Anastasia?
Well, Albert Anastasia was the head of the famous Murder, Inc., which became the subject of all sorts of law enforcement scrutiny in the 50s. He goes back that far. He also controlled the New York City waterfront. And when Sonny was courting his second wife, Tina Franzese, and she was barely a teenager when she met him, he took her out to dinner one night, and Albert Anastasia came over to the table to talk to them. That impressed her. She realized then that the man she was dating was a man who was very, very powerful.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we'll get more into that. Tina, Sonny's young teenage bride, her maiden name, I believe, Tina Capibianco. And we'll get more into the fact that he met her at the Stork Club at the age of 16, and I believe she gave birth to one Michael Franzese at the age of 16 too, right?
I think she was 18.
Oh, she was 18. Okay. A couple years later. Okay.
Because Sonny is not Michael's father.
Sonny is Michael's stepfather.
Yes.
And his father's name was Frank Grillo?
No.
Lou Grillo.
Lou Grillo.
I'm sorry. Grillo. Lou Grillo. Although the internet may beg to differ, but
yeah.
we here on this channel, we take the word of Pulitzer Prize winning authors over the quote unquote internet.
Well, J. Edgar Hoover, as you know, was the head of the FBI, and for years he denied the existence of the Mafia. And then, of course, there was that famous discovery in Appalachia, New York, where all the mobsters were gathered. A state trooper stumbled upon them, and then police converged, and they were all scrambling out the back in their designer loafers. Hugely embarrassing for J. Edgar Hoover. And then Robert Kennedy, when he was Attorney General, really pressed him to do something about organized crime. And Sonny Franzese became a top priority of the FBI. Court papers quote an FBI agent saying, J. Edgar Hoover would give his left nut for Sonny Franzese. Another way to say it, a more polite way to say it, is J. Edgar Hoover would give his left testicle for right. Sonny Franzese. Also, the other thing that's very striking is FBI agents in the 60s would send what were called airtels, telegrams, to various offices, and usually to their local office in New York City. But in the case of Sonny Franzese, the airtels went directly to J. Edgar Hoover.
Wow. So who knows? Maybe Hoover was attracted to him.
Could be.
J. Edgar Hoover, I mean, I've heard some interesting things about wiretaps from wise guys in the early 60s saying how, well, I've heard Michael Franzese mention this as well. I mean, I don't know if he has direct knowledge or if he's just repeating things. I've heard some New Jersey gangsters back in the era talking about, something along, hey, Hoover's a fag. And it's like, Really? Yeah. Yeah. So there was kind of like, I think was it the Stork Club? I'm not sure which club, but there supposedly he was cavorting.
Stork
So
Club.
I think of Vanity. Stork Club. There's a Vanity Fair article that has like kind of sources that say that he was with his boyfriend and all these things, and that he was, he liked to dress like a woman, and that he was gay, and that the mafia had some dirt on him, which is funny to think of. He's the ultimate spy master who usually holds the dirt, but it's interesting to think that the Cosa Nostra. But there's another story that said that he would bet, I believe, at the racetrack, maybe Saratoga, and he'd always win because the mafia was kind of paying him off too. So I wonder where that. Do you have a take on where that might all fall?
Yeah, I don't know about J. Edgar Hoover specifically. Certainly I've heard those stories, but I can tell you that in talking to Sonny, he talked about people who, and he had no problem with homosexuals, as he put it. One of Tina's best friends was gay, and Sonny was fine with that. He didn't like other men hanging out, and of course, a gay man is a man, but he didn't like straight men hanging around Sonny Franzese. But he had no problem with gay guys. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Sonny had no problem with gay men hanging around his wife, Tina. He did have a problem with straight men hanging around Tina. But remember, the other thing about in the 60s, it was a shameful thing to be a homosexual. And the mafia saw a money-making opportunity there. And they frequently blackmailed guys who were gay. And they would watch for that in their clubs. That was an opportunity to make money, and big one. And they did it.
Interesting. I mean, I know that the mob owned a lot of gay clubs, many, many different interests from many, many different mafia families. Do you know of any of those attempts at blackmail in particular?
I can't think of any specific cases, but I absolutely know it happened. And Sonny alluded to it a few times.
Billy Luna.
This is Victoria Luna. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and share with your mates on social media. Check out these awesome videos now. Ciao.